All right. Sound is good. We are ready. We're here. It's Tuesday. It's the first Tuesday of the month. There we go. Come on, Alice. Let's go over here. It's the time of year when it's aggressively bright at this time of day. Right here. But can't complain about the sun, so here we go. We got a couple minutes till we get started. We're going to do a mobility class tonight, focusing on hips and hamstrings. For props, if you have 2 blocks, we'll tuck those up towards the top. And if you have a strap, that will be helpful as well. If you don't have a strap, you can also use like a towel or a shirt. We're just going to use that for one drill at the beginning. So just lie that next to the mat so it's handy when we need it. We'll get started in about a minute. Alice is ready to start. Oh, big shake. Shake your furs all over me in my black outfit. At least you're a black cat. So it's much worse when my orange cat Neil jumps on the black. All right. We'll get started in just a moment. Put some music on for myself in the background there. Unfortunately, I can't stream music over YouTube. And we're gonna get started. This is the first one of the month, so this one is open to everybody. If you do enjoy this, please check out the link below for a Patreon where we do multiple live classes per week. And all are recorded. There's hundreds of recordings there now. And let's get started. We're going to do hips and hamstrings mobility tonight. Excuse me, Alice. I mentioned it once, but I'll mention it again. If you have 2 blocks, tuck those up to the top. Those are going to come in handy tonight, as well as a strap. And let's start on our backs. Hello, Alice. Right away, give the knees a hug in towards the chest. Hold on to the shins, let the knees open wider on the ribs. Alice, you're purring right into the mic. And start with just a couple gentle rocks side to side here. Just trying to get some movement through the hips. You can open the knees wide. You could start drawing some circles here. Alice, no! Why are you eating that plant? Great. If you're taking circles, let's switch that direction. Great. Just taking any last movements here, wiggling out through the hips, moving the legs wherever feels good. Just right side to side rocks. We're going to meet up with the feet planted to set up for bridge rolls in about 10 seconds. All right, so when you're ready, bring the feet to plant about hip-width distance apart, comfortably close. Relax the arms by the sides. Take an inhale here. Notice a natural curve through the low back. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, press the low back down, squeeze the glutes to roll up hips, low back, mid back, and reverse that back down, mid back, low back, hips. Relaxing at the bottom. Exhale, tucks to roll up. Inhale, rolls it down. Let's take just a couple more of these rolls here, starting to activate the glutes, articulating through the spine. We're opening up the hip flexors at the top here. Let's take about 3 more rounds. And the next time you're in your bridge, on this 3rd one, pausing. Think about the heels drawing in towards you, finding activation through the hamstring. Start to add a little pulse, squeeze and release to go up an inch, down an inch for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Roll it down. Let's give the right knee a hug in towards the chest. We're going to take our strap, loop that around the bottom of the right foot here. You can take a point or a flex. And we're going to start just extending and bending the leg. So you can start with that a comfortable distance away. Slowly starting to extend the leg just until you find a stretch through the hamstring. And then re-bend into the knee. Nice. Inhaling to extend, or exhaling to extend. Inhaling to bend. Exhale up. Inhaling down. Right, let's take about 3 more like that. 3. 2. And last one. Then one more time, we'll extend the leg and pause in that extension. Great, holding on to that strap here. We're going to start to find some active resistance. So I want you to think that the strap is kicking to the other side of the room, contracting the leg. Starting to kick, we'll hold that kick for 3, 2, 1, and then relax. And one more, we're going to do that 2 more times actually. Let's kick that strap away. 3, 2, 1, and relax. One more time, kick the strap away. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Great, we'll take a couple more breaths here with this extended leg. This left foot can stay planted, or you can lengthen it long to intensify that stretch here. All right, let's take about 3 more breaths. All right, if you have that left leg long, bring it back into a bend, release that strap. Right foot comes down, we'll take it over to the other side, loop that left foot in, starting with that bend in the knee. Take an inhale here, and with an exhale, extending just until you find a stretch through the hamstring. Inhaling to bend and contract. Exhaling to lengthen. Oh, losing my strap here. Let's take a couple like that, bending and extending, moving with the breath, using that exhale to extend, finding length. So you start to get the hamstring warmed up here. All right, we'll take 3 more like this. This is 3. 2. And last one. Great, we're going to open that extension up one more time and pause there as we start to move into our activation, kick the strap away here, a PNF technique. When you're ready, start to kick into that strap. You're sending it to the other side of the room. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Maybe you find a little more space in this stretch. We're gonna do that 2 more times, starting to kick. 3, 2, 1, and release. One more time, let's kick. 3, 2, 1, and release. Great, take a couple more breaths with this extended leg, with the option to maybe walk that right leg away, intensifying that stretch. Let's take 3 rounds of breath. Maybe each exhale finds a little more space, draws that leg a little closer. Great, and when you're ready, start to bring that right knee back into a bend. Release that left leg. So we're done with our strap for now, so we can toss that off to the side. Give the knees a hug in, and take a rock up to a seat. At the top here, let's come take a seat over on the right hip, and bring the right forearm down. We're gonna take that parallel to the short edge of the mat here and find a clamshell position with the legs. So the knees are gonna come into a bend, taking heels in line with the butt. Now, I want you to think about pushing the ground away here so we're not just dumping into this right side body and shoulder. Staying strong and contracted here. And we're gonna work into some external hip rotation, opening and closing our clamshell. So the toes are gonna stay together. Take a breath in, and with an exhale, opening the knees. But we want to keep the hips facing forward here, so we're not ratcheting open to the sky. The hips are staying still as that leg externally rotates to turn the knee up. Just going as far as you can, keeping that still and controlled. Great, exhaling to open. Feel that outer glute squeeze. Inhaling to lower. Great, let's just go for 3 here. 3 more. 3, 2. Last one, we'll open and hold. Hold that shape. Keep pushing the ground away. Hips staying still. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax that down. Awesome. Hop back up onto the hand, and we'll turn that over to the other side. Coming onto the left hip, left forearm comes down. Ooh. Dodge that sunbeam here. Heels in line with the butt. Setting up in your clamshell. Let's take an inhale to prepare here. And with an exhale, open that right knee up. Inhaling down. Exhaling up. I like to keep my hand on my hip here so I know my hips are staying still and facing forward. Finding your active external rotation, whatever that is for you today. Great, we've got about 5 more. We do these a lot in Pilates, so if you ever come to Pilates on Thursday, we definitely work on a lot of these. 3, 2. Last one, we'll open and hold. Keep that still. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Close. Awesome. Pop back up onto the hands. Turn to face the front, scooting to the back of the mat. Now lengthen the legs out long here into a seated pike, and we're going to do a pike hip walk. So, sitting up nice and tall through the spine, shift over towards the left butt cheek to scoot the right butt cheek forward, and then we'll do that as a walk all the way up to the top here. Keeping the legs long, trying to sit up tall. So we're getting the hips warmed up, and we're challenging our hip mobility while the hips are in flexion, seeing how far you can scoot. This also doubles as being an excellent way to clean all the cat hair off your mat and attach it to your clothing. Once you make it back, we'll take one more walk forward and back. Try to keep the legs nice and straight. So we're using the hips to walk. I'm going to make it to the back of the mat once more here, and then we'll take a pause. All right, next time you're at the back of your mat, let's bring the knees into a bend. Take a moment, windshield wipe them side to side. Maybe trying to find as close to 90 degrees as you can with the legs here. So So we're getting an internal rotation and an external rotation when we move through our windshield wipers. And you can keep hands down as you do these. I'm going to turn to face here. Or maybe you take hands to heart center and rotate side to side. Maybe one leg opens as wide as it can before the other chases it to the side, really opening up the hips through center, whether the hands are down or the hands are lifted. All right, last one. All right, finishing off that last one, turn back to face the front, lengthening the legs out long. We're going to find a seated figure 4 here. Let's lean back to plant the hands. Try to keep length through the spine. Let's bring the right knee into a bend. Cross right ankle over left thigh, flexing into that right foot. Now the left foot can start to bend and pull in, but only as far as you can still keep a nice tall spine. We don't want to be rounded back here. Now this right knee is thinking about driving back, opening up that hip into an external rotation. And you can stay still here, or we can pull that right knee in on the inhale and exhale, open that away. Inhaling to close, exhaling to open, still trying to keep the spine nice and tall. Let's go for 2 more breaths. And 1. Great, release that leg, stretch it out. We'll take it to the other side, crossing left ankle over right thigh. Right foot can come into a bend just as much as you can keep that spine long, wherever that is for you today. Could be down here, or maybe it's way up here. And you can take stillness in this figure 4, flexing the feet, so we're nice and active there. Or we can add that inhale to pull the knee in, exhaling to drive it back and open. Taking nice deep breaths here in stillness or with this gentle movement. For 3, 2, and 1. Great, release that out, stretch it out. Let's take the legs into a bend, tuck it off to the side, come forward to your tabletop position. All right, I'll take just a couple cat-cows here, gentle move through the spine. Inhale, opens the heart forward. Exhale, push the ground away. I think 2 or 3 more, just like that, gently moving the spine out. All right, let's bring the spine back to neutral. We're going to pull the right leg forward, stepping that between the hands. This is where your blocks are going to come in handy. So if you're using blocks, let's grab onto those. And from here, we're actually going to give the back toe a tuck and lift the knee up here. Thinking about tucking the tailbone, sending the hips down. Take an inhale, open up the hip flexor. And with an exhale, we'll pull it back to a pyramid pose, pulling the hips back, lengthening through the legs, lengthening the spine. We're going to floss between these 2 shapes. As you inhale forward, think about that back leg staying straight as long as you can, sinking the hips down. Exhaling to pull it back and lengthen. So we're going to take a couple rounds like this, inhaling to open forward, exhaling to pull it back. This is my favorite way to get my hips and my hamstrings moving. I do these every single day. Let's take about 3 more here, 3, 4 more. Last 2. And last one. Next time you're in your pyramid pose, take a pause there. You can take a step in with that back foot if you'd like, bring that heel down, but you don't have to. Try to lengthen out through your spine. Take a couple breaths here in stillness, or maybe with the inhale you try to really lengthen out, and exhale tries to hinge it forward and fold a little more over that front leg like a wave. Inhaling up, exhaling folds. All right, take one more breath. And then we'll shift that back forward to a lunge, this time taking the back knee all the way down. Now we're going to do a lift and lower of the back knee for our next drill. This is really one of my favorites for my hip flexors. You can keep the back toes tucked, or you can untuck if it feels okay for your toes long to press into the mat to lift the knee here. We want to take a peek back that the foot is in line, not like sickled out one side or the other, but in a nice line. We're going to walk the blocks right up by the sides here and think about the legs scissoring together so that front right hip is drawing back as the left hip draws forward. So to press into that top of the back foot or tucked toes, keeping the hips as low as you can, try to lift and lower that back knee, squeezing the glute. A lot of things to think about here. Legs are scissoring together. Try to keep the hips as low as you can so that hip flexor is lengthening. I like to think about getting light on my hands here as well. So the blocks are there for support. Let's go for 3, 2, and 1. Great, lower that back knee down to pull it back to a half split, pulling the hips back, lengthening through the right leg, flexing into the foot for your hamstring stretch. Great, now you can take a few breaths of stillness here, or really flexing into that right foot. Windshield wipe that leg side to side, bringing the outer and inner arch towards the ground. Now try to keep that foot as flexed as you can. It's not about getting the foot down, it's maintaining that activation. Great, last one. Awesome. From here, let's give that leg a pull back. We'll step it all the way back to a kneel. We'll take it right over to the other side. Left foot forward, right leg back. Starting by tucking the back toe, lifting the knee. Inhale, sinks the hips down to lunge. Exhale, pulls it back to our pyramid hamstring stretch, lengthening legs and spine. Trying to keep that back leg as straight as you can as you inhale it forward. Exhale it back. Inhaling to open and exhaling to lengthen. Great, let's take a couple more just like that in my favorite 2 shapes. We'll go for 4 more. Two. And 1. Next time you're in your pyramid, pause there. We'll take some nice deep breaths here in stillness, or you can add that spine wave, inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to fold maybe a little further. Inhale, lengthens the spine, exhale, folds. Take one more breath. Let's shift it back forward to a lunge, this time bringing the back knee all the way down. Now we're going to do our lift and lower of the back knee. So walking the blocks up by your sides a little closer, and these back toes can stay untucked long, taking a peek back to make sure the foot is in line, or you can take toes tucked. Now the goal of this is to keep the hips as low as possible while we lift and lower that back knee, squeezing the glute here. Great, think about the legs drawing together, scissoring nice and active, press into that back leg or back foot to lift and lower. Keeping those hips as low as possible. Oh, the sun's starting to go down. We've got 5, 4, it just got so dark in here. 3, 2, and 1. Great, bring that back knee down, pull it back to your hamstring stretch, pull the hips back, lengthen through the left leg, flex the foot. Try to find length through your spine here, we don't be rounded. And you can take stillness, or we can take our windshield wipe, maintaining that flex, inner and outer arch, turns down towards the ground, rotating the femur within that hip socket. All right, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Let's recenter and pull it back. Great. Let's give the toes a tuck here. We'll take it back to a forward fold. Take the hips up and back towards the back of the mat. You can walk your blocks back with you if you'd like. Take a soft bend into the knees, letting the head hang heavy here. Take a couple breaths. Thinking about belly towards the thighs here. So bending the knees as much as you need to try and find that connection before then trying to lengthen out through the legs. Just going to take one more breath. All right, let's start to crawl that back forward and lower the knees. Oh my gosh, it's 7:26. There were still so many things I wanted to do. We're gonna take, let's take a passive hold now. We did a fair bit of active work. Let's take a passive hold and then we will cool it down. I'm gonna give a couple options for our passive hold. Now you could take your child's pose here for the hips, toes together, knees wide. Send the hips back, walk the arms forward, let the forehead melt down. Or if you want a little more of an intense hip opener, we can come into a frog pose. From our tabletop, step the knees out a little wider, flexing the feet, turning the toes out to the side. Now when you're in this frog, we'll take a peek back that we have a knee in line with ankle and knee in line with hip and knee in line with ankle. This is my hip, that is my ankle. It's been a long day. Keep those feet flexed and then maybe sinking down, maybe the knees slide out a little further. Now we don't want to let the core go and let the back arch here. Try to keep the core engaged. Every once in a while taking a peek back, and now you can find stillness in the shape. Sometimes I like to gently shift just like an inch or so forward and back. Got to work a little bit deeper into it. I am going to set a timer for about 30 seconds here. 30, 40 seconds will do. – 30, 40 seconds. We're going to see how we feel at 30, and then if we feel good, we'll go to 40. Frog can be a pretty intense one. Use nice deep exhales. Maybe you find a little more space. We're at 40 seconds now. Let's take one more breath. And when you're ready, start to push into the forearms or hands and start to pull up out of there. Oof. And we'll take a seat off to one side. Come to find a crisscross applesauce position. Let the arms relax wherever's comfortable. And let's take just 3 final deep breaths here to wrap up this evening. Great, and thank you so much for being here tonight. If you enjoyed this one, there is a longer version of this class on my Patreon that we did last month. It was the month that Easter was in. I think that's April, which was a little more expanded version. We got to do a little bit more. This is kind of a little condensed 30-minute of it, but I hope you enjoyed it. I really like doing mobility work. That was fun. And again, if you enjoyed this, please check out the link below for Patreon. It very, very, very much helps support the content I make on here, on there, and for me to live. There's options for as low as $3 up to $12.50. You're welcome, Linda. Thank you for being here. And that's all for tonight. Hopefully your hips, hamstrings feel good. Mine do. And I'll see you guys the first Tuesday of June will be our next free to the public live stream. But again, Patreon, you can see me multiple times a week with hundreds of recordings. Hope to see you there. All right, until next time.